So they found my drone and they were like, this is a drone. I said yes. I'm just gonna go for it. Good morning internet, it is 7:15 in the morning and welcome back to the channel. Welcome here to Kundus in Afghanistan. I was just served my breakfast here in my room. So this is for breakfast. I have 3 yellow eggs. I don't know how they got them yellow. And some tea, some bread, and this is salt, I promise you. It's just salt. This is where I am right now, and today is border crossing day. I'm gonna ride to Tajikistan. I'm leaving Afghanistan, and I hope to ride to the capital of Tajikistan, which is Dushanbe. Bye. Okay. Let's go. Turns out that this place where I was staying was again a wedding venue. That explains a little bit more the strange room that I had, I suppose. Anyway, they after I checked into my room, they came knocking on my door and said, we want to move your bike to a safer place. I was like, okay. And then yeah, we put we put Frankie in the elevator and brought her to the 5th floor, which was under construction, but looked like it was going to be wedding hall. And that's where Frankie spent the night. Very safe. Okay, I am mentally preparing for a border crossing today. After I leave the chaos of Kundus, I am going to ride about 50 kilometers to the border with Tajikistan, 10 to 8. Yeah, I'll be good in time because I think the border on the Afghanistan side only opens at 9 anyway. So I will arrive around 9, I would say. Most people just have to pay attention. yeah, that means I am leaving Afghanistan, and I thought it was quite an intense journey. I did get what I came here for, and I'm glad that I got the opportunity to speak to some locals, both men and women, who I could ask, you know, how life is now like for them under Taliban rule, and we could have conversations about it. I could not film this. It's not safe for them, and I didn't want to mention it earlier also, to just make absolutely sure that nobody that I spoke to could get in any sort of trouble because of me. It is too dangerous to publicly talk about these things. So I'm sad that I cannot share these stories with you, because I do think that's very important too, but I think their safety has to come first. Other than that, yeah, for me personally, it has been a little intense. I thought traveling here is pretty intense, you know. Seeing all the Taliban everywhere is, I don't know, I don't get used to it, to be honest. It feels very surreal still. And, you know, being brought into that command center and being surrounded by 30-40 Taliban is something that I will not forget how that feels like. And because the thing is with these guys, they just carry these big guns all the time, right? So when they took me into that office to meet the commander, you know, they're all just carrying those guns in that office, you know. They're just like sitting there casually with like AK-47s on their lap, you know, while asking you where you're going and what you're doing in Afghanistan. Let me fill up. Spend some of my rupees that I have left. Petrol?
Petrol.
Okay. Salam alaikum. Full. Dia ada mana nah? Tajikistan.
Huh?
I go to Tajikistan. Me, Hollanda. Hollanda, Afghanistan in... Bye. So, what was I saying? Yeah, dealing with the Taliban. Yeah, and what I also found difficult is that I still need to stay nice and polite, which I think I was. And a lot of the time, they were also really friendly to me, you know, offering me food, offering me water. Either way, I showed my face to many of them. They all saw a woman alone doing this type of thing on a motorbike, which I think is a good reminder of what women are capable of if you don't deny them their freedom. Now it's time to leave. I hope it will be a smooth exit. When I entered Afghanistan, they were going through my phone. So I hope they won't do that now, obviously. The side stand is out. Hey, sir, Okay, is it me? Or do the sheep in Afghanistan look like they all had a BBL? Like, what's up with their butts? Alright, this is actually the flattest I've seen in Afghanistan. The entire time I was here it was mountainous, and now I've just ridden out of Kundus and it's flat. Anyway, I'm going to take away my cameras now, about 10 kilometers from the border. And as you know, normally I always film, but this is a little bit of a different story. I don't want to rock up at the Afghanistan side with my cameras exposed and risk that at the last moment they figure out that I have a YouTube channel. Obviously, I have told nobody in Afghanistan that I have a YouTube channel, because it goes without saying that everything that I've been filming, they might not enjoy that so much. So for my own safety, I keep this obviously quiet, and I don't want to risk that they find out at the last moment and, I don't know, delete all my footage or worse.
The nation's mission to Afghanistan has reported that the Taliban authorities have arbitrarily detained journalists 256 times since taking control of the country 3 years ago. The United Nations is now urging the Taliban to ensure greater protection for the media. UN and its Human Rights Office noted that journalists in Afghanistan continue to work under extremely challenging conditions.
In mid-August 2021, the fall of Kabul was simply a turning point. The Taliban were already in power once. But in those 20 years when they weren't in power, it has to be said that a very vibrant and diverse media landscape was able to develop in Afghanistan. It was still a dangerous job to work as a journalist in Afghanistan. The Taliban completely destroyed this really vibrant media landscape.
So I'm gonna put them away, and then I'll see you on the Tajikistan side. Wish me luck. I did it! I did it! I'm in Tajikistan. Well, that was a rather nerve-wracking border crossing. Well, it started off nerve-wracking because the Taliban searched everything. I've never had such an extensive search of my stuff on my motorbike in all my travels. They opened every single bag, took out everything. So they found my drone. And they were like, "This is a drone." I said, "Yes, but I'm not flying it in Afghanistan." Which is almost true. I barely flew it, obviously. And I thought, okay, they're gonna take it, they're gonna confiscate it. And then they just put it back. And then on the Tajikistan side, it took a long time, but it was so funny because they couldn't do the temporary import of Frankie because the printer was, well, they just got a new printer and it wasn't installed and they didn't know how to do it. So, and they were really busy with other things as well, so I ended up installing the printer. So I'm like reading the manual, putting in like that CD drive thing to install the driver of the printer. So anyway, I did that, and then printer was working, and then it was quick. So yeah, it is extremely hot here, but I have 170 kilometers to go to Dushanbe, and if my memory serves me right, Dushanbe is at higher elevation, so I should be climbing. So then it won't be as hot, I hope. Anyway, so welcome to Tajikistan! Round 2! I was here with Basanti. That means that this time I'm gonna ride a different route. Obviously, I'm not gonna do exactly the same thing what I did with Basanti. I see some mountains. That is excellent. I can't wait until I start climbing. It has to be close to 40 degrees Celsius. And I've climbed to 1200 meters. It's a lot better here. I am entering Dushanbe. Hi.
Good. Yes. Love.
Love. Thank you. Bye. That was just the loveliest man, really. So first I have an amazing meal. It was my first plof again. I'll have plenty of more of that. It's like the typical dish in the region. It's kind of like a bit of an oily rice with vegetables and pieces of meat. And then I want to pay. And then he's like, no. He was so adamant. He refused my money. And then as I'm leaving, he gives me another bottle. They serve the meal with like a kind of like a pear. I think it's a pear juice. It's really nice. And he gave me like a 1.5 liter bottle of it. So nice and delicious. I got all these Chinese electric taxis. See, the brand of the car is even written in Chinese. I cannot remember seeing these last time I was in Tajikistan. Anyone San Sebastiano? And I have a place to stay. Very nice room. It looks like a very comfortable bed. No wedding venue this time. I'm pretty tired. I mean, the border crossing, in total it took me 3 hours, which is really not bad, but it was just a little bit stressful leaving Afghanistan. And then, yeah, having the Taliban search like all my things. I was really worried, you know, that they were gonna ask more questions or wanting to see footage or anything like that. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna end this video now. That was it for today. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and then I'll see you in the next video.